Welcome, everybody. Hi, and it is just about that time. Welcome to the ACHA Power Play right here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. You can catch us on all of our social media platforms. Twitter, you can catch us or X at the Real Captain Lou, and of course, 12 Ounce Sports. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, and of course, our social media on Facebook, 12 Ounce Sports, Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitch, we're everywhere. And we are live right now on the ACHA Power Play. And it's a beautiful time because we are 9 days away from puck drop. A week from Thursday, down in St. Louis at the Centene Center and also in Maryville, the two sites for the 2024 ACHA National Tournament. And I tell you, it's right around the corner. It's, again, so hard to believe that we are just days away now. And it's exciting because our next broadcast of the ACHA Power Play will be on Wednesday next week. But the caveat is we're going to be live with our broadcast next Wednesday from the Centene Ice Center, the home of the national tournament for the ACHA. Really excited to be there. With that, we're going to give you a complete rundown of all the brackets next week as well. And as we're going to break most of it down here tonight, we're going to give you all the teams that are in and kind of where they sit here for the national tournament. So a lot to go over. We're going to be on tonight till about 8:20 or so. We've got a stacked lineup of guests. I had a chance to talk with Travis Hyde. He's the head coach of Oswego State. They are making their first appearance in the national tournament at the men's D1 level, and they get to take on Niagara in the opening night. I think it's the nightcap of that game, and so we're going to talk. We had a chance to talk to Travis last night. We'll play that interview with you here in about 8 minutes or so. So stick around for that. And about 7:45 tonight, Shea Klitzke is going to join us. He's the head coach of Concordia of Wisconsin. They had one heck of a run to get into the regional tournament in the Central region in men's Division II. And they had a couple of real, they had a very, very close game, obviously, on Sunday. But Saturday, they were able to knock off a pesky Drury team 5-2. And then in overtime, took care of Minnesota 2-1 on a beautiful goal from Chuck Emmy. We'll talk to Shea about that. And so they've got their ticket punched for the D2 tournament starting on the 11th. And I think they open up with Keene State. And I got to tell you, that's going to be one heck of a matchup. Opening day, that's going to be one of the highlight matchups, in my opinion, in D2. There's so many good teams in D2. And, the third seeds in all of the pools, we'll talk about a little bit later, but the third seeds in those pools are just those are the ones you got to watch out for because they've had a chance to win. They played like with Providence and them and the other two, Indiana, who made it all the way to the semifinals last year. They're back as a 3 seed in their pool, and I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. So we're going to talk to Shea at 7:45, and then Gary Smith's going to join us at about 8:05 tonight. He's from Dartmouth. He's the head coach at Dartmouth College. They qualified for the national tournament at the men's D3 level. A lot of new faces in D3 this year. You've got the old standbys with Hope and Calvin and Grand Valley and Arkansas and Missouri. But we got some new teams in. We're going to see if they're going to make some noise. And so, yeah, so we're going to talk to Gary at about 8:05, right around there. So a lot to talk about, a lot of excitement with the tournament coming up next Thursday. It runs right through to the 17th. The men's D1 and the men's D3 run concurrent, same time at Centene and also at Maryville the first day. There's 3 rinks at the Centene Ice Center, and it's a beautiful facility. 82 teams going to be converging on St. Louis from March 7th through the 17th. So men's D3 and men's D1 start on the 7th. Their championship games are on the 12th. The men's D2 starts on the 11th, runs through that Friday the 15th. So 5 games in 5 days for the eventual national champion. And then the women's D2 starts on the 12th as well. And then the women's D1 starts on the 13th. The women's D2 championship game is on March 16th. And then the finale of the tournament, the women's D1 championship game, will be on Sunday, March the 17th. So, and by the way, we do know this with the national tournament, there's going to be at least 2 brand new national champions this year. the defending champs in D3, the men's side, Michigan, did not qualify, so they're not going to be there. So we're going to get a new champion there. And I guess the big question is going to be, is it going to be from someone from the state of Michigan again this year, or are one of the new teams, or someone from the southern state, Florida Gulf Coast or Arkansas? Are they finally going to be able to break through? Or Missouri, or one of the new teams from out east? Are they going to be able to crack the code that is the Michigan stranglehold in D3? And in D2, congratulations to the Golden Knights of Army, or the Black Knights, I should say, as they defeated UMass Amherst in the final day of regional play in the Northeast. So they are going to become, so that means UMass Amherst, the defending champions in Division II, did not make it. So we're going to have a brand new champion in D2 as well. So a lot to look forward to. We mentioned last weekend we had the central, or the D2 regional tournaments. I want to just kind of go through some of the results if I can. We'll get the Northeast Regional first, and you can see right there the opening day, the 4 games, the 14 seed Connecticut College. They tried to make a run. They made it all the way to the championship day, but they ran into a buzzsaw that was New Hampshire, 8-1. New Hampshire's going to be a very dangerous 3 seed. We talk about the 3 seeds. They've had a taste of getting to the Final Four before in D2. They're going to make it there. And Army will be the 4 seed in their bracket. So that's the Northeast seed. Now let's see if we can't bring up the other 3 here. Bear with me just a moment here. Let's go with the West right here, and you can see the qualifiers there. Loyola Marymount took on Providence on Sunday. Providence won that one 7-4. And then, of course, MSU Denver, they're making their first trip to the national tournament. So congratulations to them at the D2 level. They win 3-1 over Utah State. So those are the winners on Sunday from the West region. And let's see if we can bring up the Central. All right. The Central Division where I was at, we talked about that with Concordia qualifying. But take a look at that. The 13 and 14 seeds on Friday both won, Drury and Minnesota. And then on day 2, actually in the 11 seed as well, Maryville defeated Wisconsin. So on day 2, we had a 13 seed take on Concordia. Concordia outlasted them 5-2. And then was Minnesota. They beat last year's Cinderella team, Iowa, who went all the way to the championship game, beat them 3-2. That was one heck of a game. Maryville advanced to Sunday with a 1-goal win, and then Jamestown and Michigan State played in the nightcap. That went into the wee hours of Sunday, and Michigan State ended up winning that one in double overtime, 4-3, after spotting Jamestown a 3-0 lead. And then on Sunday, we talked about it, Concordia with an overtime win over Minnesota, the 14 seed. So we have still yet to have a 14 seed make it to the national tournament. And Michigan State with a big win over Maryville, 4-1. So there you go on that. And finally, let's see if we can't pick up the Southeast region and give you an idea how that ended up on Saturday or on Sunday as well. You could see the first couple of days right there, some 1-goal games, a shutout. We didn't have, I think that's probably the only shutout we had was Penn State over Wilmington in that 5:45 game there. At an overtime affair with Kentucky over Penn State. Indiana putting up the goals in the first couple of days, in a couple of days. And then on Sunday, it was Miami and Indiana, the 3 and the 4 seeds. They both were victorious 3-1 and 5-2. So that sets up the other 8 teams that made it to the D2 national tournament. So there you go on that. And they join the other teams that made it into the nationals in the Southeast region, Florida Gulf Coast and Liberty. In the Central, it was Lindenwood and St. Thomas, Keene State and Northeastern in the Northeast. And out West, I know I was going to forget that one. I always forget one. Let's see if I got my notes here. Of course not. Well, there's one good way to look at it real quick. Let's see if we can't. All right, let me look one more time here. Let's see what we got here. You gotta love the magic of live radio, right? So, or live TV, whatever you want to call it. Da 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 da. I think I brought it. No, I did not. Well, all right. So, why am I drawing a blank on that? I'll get it on the break. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll play our interview with Travis Hyde. He is the men's coach of Oswego State, and he stopped by, and we got his look at their team's race to the Nationals, and now they're going to get their opportunity to play in the opening round of the men's Division One national tournament. They're going to take on Niagara. We'll take a listen to that interview right after this here on the ACHA Power Play on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network.
Yeah.
And welcome back here to the ACHA Power Play live here on 12 Ounce Sports. You can catch us on all of our media platforms, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Facebook Live on the Captain Lou Extravaganza, and also 12 Ounce Sports, and on the YouTube channel 12 Ounce Sports on YouTube. We invite you to subscribe to that. But let's get to our guest line right now, and let's bring in the head coach of Oswego State. They are making their first trip to nationals, Travis Hyde. Travis, thanks for coming on tonight. How are you?
Doing well, Lou. Appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, congratulations on making the national tournament. That's exciting news. It's a lot of fun going to these tournaments, and I'm excited for you and your boys to get to make the trip to St. Louis.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, the guys are excited. I'm excited. It's obviously what you prepare for and what you plan to do beginning of the season. So to actually accomplish it and have the opportunity to go is awesome.
Now, you won the tournament with the NEC or the NCHL. Now, did you have to win the tournament to get the auto berth to get in, or was it the regular season title?
Yeah, so NECHL, our conference, is a playoff champion auto bid. So even though we went this tournament as the number one seed and win the regular season, we still had to go and win the conference championship.
But that's not easy to do. I've seen it enough times with the teams that I cover here in Michigan over the years that have had to win the conference tournament to get in, and they don't. And all of a sudden, they're on the outside looking in. So, talk a little bit about that, Travis. You win the conference regular season. That's all fine and great, but boy, it doesn't matter once you get to the tournament.
Yeah, it's definitely a little discrepancy across the league, right? Like,
yeah,
playoff first regular season champion. What is the best scenario? And, we came to the conclusion as a conference that we wanted to continue with the playoff champion and, give everybody kind of an equal right, a fair right, so to speak. And, I'm still on board with that, even though it, kind of would have went either way for us, I guess, so to speak. But, for us, like our game didn't change. We won the regular season, and that was a goal for us. It was an accomplishment for us in the program, obviously. But, even if you do win the regular season, like, you still got to go through conference playoffs and play good hockey. So for us, like, we had the mentality that we wanted to continue playing a consistent game and continue to play, Oswego hockey, so to speak, and, take that through the conference championship, obviously, and be successful, and then have that opportunity to go to nationals.
That's a great point, Travis, you just made. And I go back to, the boys or any team, you get in and that you got to win. You can't lose. A lot of kids get tight. It's a normal reaction. They take a dumb penalty or whatever. And your boys didn't do that. You won. It looks like you won convincingly on Sunday in the last day of your conference tournament to get in. And that's a great testament to your boys and what they did.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We, again, like you always talk about mentalities and you talk about, the mantras of your programs and things. I don't want to give the secrets of what we do.
No, of course not.
For us, it was a lot of just like focusing on what we do and, not worrying about those, things that you can't control. You hear that a lot, but, the referees or the distractions of the fans or the distractions of the pressure of what the game means. And, for us, it was, we knew our identity and we knew the way that we could play. So we just had to execute and we just had to do it.
So you started the year, obviously your goal, the ultimate goal of everybody is to make the national tournament. As the year went on, what, I guess kind of a weird question maybe, but what pleased you the most about the progress of your team from back in August until right now up to this point here?
Yeah. I mean, the first one is we were healthy going into playoffs.
Yeah.
That helps.
Oh boy.
So a lot of, I guess gratitude goes to the staff, the training staff that we have and in our docs and in our strength coaches and things. And, the guys obviously taking care of their bodies too. That's huge. But, that was the first thing that made this season successful was, there wasn't really a time in the year where we were kind of scratching our heads going, okay, what do we need to do here?
Mm-hmm.
The guys stayed pretty healthy through the year. And, that is obviously a testament to the strength coaches and the staff that we have. And then two was just our battle through the adversity. I mean, you hear that from any coach, any team, any program that's successful is their willingness and their adaptability to those tough times. And, we had a lot of that through the year, like especially the first half before Christmas break or winter break, so to be it. Like every weekend we had there was something that happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it was travel issues or weather issues, whether it was, tough officiating, whether it was, a goal getting called off, like something happened within the weekend or the game that, could have went either way for us. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, the biggest thing for us that really set the tone for the second half and allowed us to play a really good hockey game, down the stretch in January and February.
And Travis, one of the things, I looked at your schedule this year and you played a lot of local teams, obviously, but you played some really good teams. A team that comes to mind is Ohio. And I thought you played really well in one of the games there. And it kind of gave you a taste of what to expect too.
Yeah. And that's why we put them on the schedule. So
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit on my background is I actually did my graduate studies and coached there, pre-COVID during that whole pandemic year that happened. So yeah, I got a taste of what that program was about firsthand. And, I wanted to bring a lot of that to Oswego to obviously grow the program and make it one of those top 25, reputable programs
Mm-hmm.
consistently. And, even my older guys, my seniors, my juniors, going up until really last year, they hadn't necessarily experienced that kind of hockey. And, going to the national tournament, yeah, it's a great feat for any program, but you go out there and if you don't really know what to expect,
yeah,
we both know what can happen. So
yeah.
Playing the Ohios, playing the Pittsburghs, even IUP, Indiana UP, playing hockey, like playing those programs consistently is going to get you that experience and get you that quality of hockey and, obviously prepare you for the national tournament.
All right. I got to ask you a side question since you were an assistant at Ohio. I
Mm-hmm.
had Coach Leo on earlier this year, and he said that going to a game at Ohio is one of the best experiences I'm ever going to have because it's such a beautiful area and a beautiful facility and beautiful this. He was campaigning to get me and my wife go there. Is it as beautiful as what he said?
It depends on the year because we went there this year and I mentioned adversity. That's one of the days we got stuck there pretty much an extra night and our 8-hour trip turned into 12 and a half.
Oh boy.
So I love Leo and I love Ohio and out there are fantastic, but you go there at the wrong time of the year and it's going to leave a sour taste in your mouth.
Well, my wife told me if we go there, it's going to be before the snow flies. So I'm thinking it'll probably be early October when we go there. But
yeah, no, Bird Arena, man, is it's a special place for sure. The fan base there, the community there is awesome. You can any guy or individual for that matter that's been through that program and are alumni of that program, even just community going to the games, everybody's going to preach on that. And it's definitely one of the most fun places for the ACHA. Absolutely.
So we're joined here tonight on the ACHA Power Play by Travis Hyde, the head coach of Oswego State, making their initial appearance in the national tournament, one of hopefully many more down the road. Travis, I looked at your team stats this year, and I say that I sound like a broken record on here when I have coaches on of teams that have done well. Very balanced. It looks like you can roll out 4 lines and not miss a beat. It's you've got a lot of kids that are in double-digit scoring, and you can rely on them on the defensive side as well to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, that's again, we don't want to tell our secrets, right? But
right.
You're definitely speaking to a little bit of the composure of our program and our team, specifically within our roster. And we want guys that can come in and play a 2-way game and 200-foot game, and obviously we try to balance things so it's not relied on just 3, 4, 5 guys. We do want 12 forwards and 7D or 13 and 6, however you want to roll it, and we want everybody going for sure.
And then on the defensive side, your goaltending has been very, very good, and that's going to be key going down there. Obviously, when you're in a single elimination tournament, defense is ratcheted up tenfold. At least that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, our goaltending's been stellar for us, even back to a couple years back in Alex Golosi, if you go into the archives a little bit. But Thomas McAleer, he's one of the best in the ACHA, and his stats may not reflect it for some of the games, but if you put him up against those top teams in the country, he can compete. And he's stolen us some games this year for sure, and the guys love playing in front of him, and obviously that's a recipe that you want to have going into a national tournament game.
So Travis, you make the tournament. Do you scout? Do you do any scouting of the team that you're going to play? I mean, do you watch video? Yeah. I mean, how much of that do you really do?
Yeah, I do a lot of it. My fiance, soon to be wife, probably gets a little annoyed by it, to be honest with you. But it's kind of funny in what we have here in facing Niagara first round, because they're a former NACHL opponent, obviously, so we have a lot of past history. Tom, Meridian, their head coach, and myself were good buddies, and we both joke that we should have advocated to play the game in Rochester, New York, about an hour away. Doesn't really work that way, but yeah, to answer your question, myself, the staff, we do a lot of pre-scout. We try to kind of fine tune what exactly the opponent is going to bring, and we've done that all year. So our process isn't going to change. The way we approach the game and prepare for the game isn't going to change, and hopefully that allows the guys to go into maybe an unfamiliar environment at the national tournament and be comfortable, and that's going to be the goal for us. So
again, I'm not going to ask you for any secrets, but if there's one thing maybe that you think you might need to tweak a little bit, that just to keep the roll going as you head down to St. Louis, what might that be?
Yeah, it's probably just playing at that pace. We've talked about it all year. Is we want to play at a higher pace than all of our conference opponents, because we knew they couldn't play at that pace in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
And, we can look back in reflection and say we did pretty well in accomplishing that. But, going to the national tournament, Niagara, just as an example, they have some really speedy forwards and some guys that can skate really well. And, we have to pick up our feet a little bit in order to keep up. And, as you move deeper into the tournament, teams get better, teams get bigger, faster, stronger, etc. And, I think that's the biggest task for us, is just to play at that faster game and be able to compete consistently at that faster game.
So what time, when do you get down to St. Louis?
We are leaving Tuesday morning. So we're busing. It's a long trip. It's about 13 and a half just drive time. So add in your stops, make it as much math as you want to make it. But we are leaving Tuesday and getting down there probably pretty late on Tuesday evening.
So then you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you get to have a practice or like a morning skate type of deal the day before. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we get a 45-minute block.
Okay.
Really just to kind of get a feel for the
Sure.
ice, get the legs moving a little bit, and maybe work on some small kind of repetition systems, but most of it's just pretty short and sweet for the guys.
So what I like to do with all my first-time guests, Travis, if you would tell us a little bit about your playing experience and coaching experience leading up
Sure.
to becoming a head coach at Oswego State.
Sure. Yeah. So I played, growing up, obviously like everybody, a little bit of AA, AAA hockey, and ended up playing a few years of junior hockey and had some Division III looks and passed on those to stay a little closer to home. Ended up going to Cortland State, played ACHA hockey there, and loved it. It was a great time, great environment, great culture, and couldn't preach more about it. And after that, got right into coaching. Coached a little bit of junior, a little bit of AAA. Ended up getting that offer I mentioned about to Ohio and coaching out there and getting my taste of coaching in the ACHA. And that kind of opened the door for Oswego post-COVID. Got an opportunity here. Chris Timmons, who's now the head coach at Syracuse, had some mutual connections. He was going to Syracuse and leaving Oswego, and reached out, and we formed a relationship pretty quick there, and jumped on the opportunity, and I've been there ever since. So it's been awesome. I love the guys, love the program. University treats us fantastic, and for what it is in the ACHA, I wouldn't want it any other way.
How's the game changed since you played?
It's much different.
Yeah.
The game is still the same, right? You
Right.
do that pro levels. Like the game is the same. The composition of the game is different, right? Like the players are much faster, much more skilled. Like that's the biggest difference for sure. And like even like I'm a younger guy. I'm only 29, but so look basically 7-8 years ago to what the ACHA was. Even then, it was a lot of bigger, more physical guys, guys that just kind of bump and grind, and that was really the game. And now it's a lot of skill based, tic-tac-toe stuff. The Michigan is the huge thing nowadays, obviously, and it's a lot of that style of hockey, which obviously fun to coach and fun to play for the guys.
Sure.
But definitely intriguing to see the change and the progression and the hypotheticals of what's going to be in 10 years.
Who is or was your favorite NHL team growing up?
I am a Tampa Bay and Buffalo fan. Buffalo I grew up with, but Tampa Bay is the NHL affiliate to Syracuse, who I grew up, at home barn, basically. I've been there ever since before I even started playing, and I wanted to drive the Zamboni.
That's awesome. Travis, I appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. Good luck down in St. Louis. Look forward to meeting you down there in person. I'll be down there. And hey, safe travels to St. Louis. And again, thank you for coming on, and good luck down there.
Hey, Lou, I appreciate it very much, and look forward to seeing you down there in St. Louis here in about a week.
All right. That, of course, Travis Hyde, the head coach of Oswego State. They have their ticket punched. They're getting ready to go. They're going to be leaving next Tuesday morning. So in a week from now, they'll be en route down to St. Louis. And as he mentioned, they get a day, like a 45-minute period, like all teams do, to get on the ice for a little daily walkthrough, if you will. So congratulations to them. And again, thanks to Travis for being on the show. I wanted to bring this up. Again, I wanted to we talked about it before we went to break, and I want to share this again. We've got the pool for men's D2, and I apologize. I had an absolute brain cramp figuring out who the top two teams were in the West in D2, and they were Montana State and Weber State, two very solid programs. So they were the one and the two teams out of the West. So real quick, to show you the pools in D2, and we talked about. It doesn't have the teams on here for Central 3, but that is going to be Concordia. And in the Central D4 is Michigan State. Southeast 3, again, that's Indiana. They're going to be very solid to deal with. The West 3 is Providence, and the Northeast 3, as we mentioned, is New Hampshire. And the Northeast 4 is Army, and the Central 4, Michigan State. The West 4, we talked about all of those. So there you go. That's the two teams. Like I said, I felt bad. I couldn't remember who they were. I had it written down and, of course, put the piece of paper where I couldn't reach it. But so there we go with Division 2. I want to bring up the Division 1 bracket. We talked because just talking with Travis Hyde, you could see it. Actually, I got to share it first. Like I said, Magic of Live TV, right? So let's bring that screen up real quick. As you could see the bracket right there at D1 with some of the interesting games that are going on right now. The opening day, we talked about Oswego State. They're going to be taking on Niagara. The winner of that gets Ohio. So should Oswego State win that game, it's going to be the coach against the mentor. And that's going to be kind of a sidelight to keep an eye on there as well. One of the other matchups I'm really intrigued about the opening day is Indiana Tech and Calvin. They're separated by about 2 hours. And then the winner of that game will take on Adrian, who has played both those teams in the regular season. So those two teams know each other real well. And so many different matchups to kind of keep an eye on. First-time team, Purdue Northwest. They play IUP, and then they get Maryville, whoever wins that game. Another one I'm keeping an eye on is University of Mary against Westchester. Mary bumped up to D1 this year after a very, very successful run at the D2 level with a couple of straight national championships, making it to a quasi quarterfinal game against St. Thomas last year in Boston. The winner of that gets Liberty. So I think the winner of that game, there's so many intriguing first round matchups. And the thing to keep in mind when you're talking about the D1 tournament is it's single elimination. There are no second chances. There is no pool play where you can stub your toe, maybe lose a game, rebound, and get a break and get back into the Final Four for a chance to win that national championship. We saw it a couple of years ago with Minot State losing in round 2 or their opening game. They were a 2 seed. So you just never know. That's why one of these lower seeds that get hot, it's just like the regionals. You get a team in D2, a double-digit seed like Iowa last year. They get on a roll. They get the confidence. They just keep going. And boom, there they are. They make the run they make it all the way into the national tournament, then make a heck of a run to the championship game. The same could be said at the D1 level here for the men's side with its single elimination. One slip up, one bad period could cost you. We've seen it time after time where they give up 3 goals. Someone gives up, a good team will give up a couple of goals or, just make a couple of mistakes, a bad penalty leading to a power play goal or whatever. And they're playing catch up. And some of these teams are not used to playing from behind a lot. I know that kind of sounds weird, but there's a lot of teams, with the competition, they're superior and they're not used to playing from behind. Then how do they handle adversity? So many variables with a single elimination tournament like this. So those are some matchups. Like I said, I want to keep an eye on that. Niagara Oswego State matchup does sound fantastic, and really, really looking forward to that as well, and some of the other games that we mentioned. So that's the D1 on the men's side. So I want to kind of bring up. Let's see if I can bring something up here. I want to bring you the D. Well, let's see what we can get here with some of the other matchups. Let's go to the women's side here. And here are let's see. I don't know if I can bring up the bracket for the women's. Thought I had it on here. Let's bring you the pools for the women's D2. And you can see some of the teams here. Providence, Villanova, Assiniboine, and Sioux College all get the number 1 seeds. Let's take a quick look at the pools. You've got Providence, Delaware, St. Thomas, and Liberty. Very interesting one there. The one I'm keeping an eye on right now is Pool B with Dakota College and Adrian playing right out of the chute in that pool. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. Villanova, a number 1 seed in their pool for the second year in a row, looking to try to make that next step into the semifinals. Then you've got Assiniboine, Central Michigan, Boston College, and Northern Michigan. That's going to be, in my opinion, Pool C and Pool D are the tough ones. Central Michigan's a pretty good team. They're right out of the chute. They get Boston College. Assiniboine, though, we talked about that last week with them. They are a team that I think they're going to be coming in with a chip on their shoulder. They got surprised by Northeastern last year, a very good Northeastern women's team, not taking anything away from them. But, they're a very, very good, very solid program. But Assiniboine, I think, thought they should be there. So they're going to come back with a fervor. And then you've got the defending national champions, Sioux College, with Northeastern in that bracket, along with Navy and Mercyhurst. Navy making another trip to the national tournament. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, yeah, that's a pretty solid looking bracket there as well. So, again, really kind of interested to see how that all shapes out. And I want to take a look at one more bracket here if we can't bring it up. The women's D1 bracket as well is, let's see if I got the right one here. Bear with me a second here. I think this is the right one. Let's see. Okay, indeed it is. All right. Nope, that's the men's D1. So sorry. Sorry about that. Again, I thought, like I said, the magic of live TV. We'll try it one more time here. See if I can't get it here. Da, 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 da. Apparently not. So, well, all I can tell you is, let's see if that one's it right there. There we go. All right. Here's the women's D1 bracket right here. Well, it's kind of the schedule, if you will. Opening day. This is a double elimination tournament. So, the opening day, you've got U of M Dearborn against McKendree, Indiana Tech against Maryville, Michigan against Minot State. That's going to be a heck of a first round matchup. Adrian and Arizona State. So there you go. Those are your opening round brackets. And then it's like a double elimination tournament on Thursday. And then the winners from that will play on Friday. The two losers bracket winners will then play against Midland on Friday and Liberty on Friday. So here's the big thing. On the women's D1 side with their bracket, if you're the number 1 and number 2 seed, you get like a double bye almost. You get to go all the way until Friday before you play your first game. So you're automatically in the quarterfinals, which is huge. But the drawback is it's single elimination by that point. So if you stub your toe or have a bad period, you're out. Bad 10 minutes, then you're out. Take a couple of crazy penalties or whatnot. You get a team that gets on a roll, a hot goaltender. You get their confidence going. Then things get a little bit interesting there. So that's kind of the look right there at the women's D1 format. They start, as I mentioned, on March the 13th. It all gets started on March 7th with the men's D1 and the men's D3. So just so much that is going to be going on in the tournament, and we can't wait to bring it to you. We're going to be on Flow Hockey TV. I'll be down there broadcasting the games. And again, next week on the ACHA Power Play, we're going to be on Wednesday night. We're going to take an extra day. We're going to be live from the Centene Center with our broadcast next Wednesday, the ACHA Power Play. Hopefully we can get some special guests down there to stop on by, and we'll go over all of these brackets again. I'll be a little more organized, I promise. I'll have an idea where they are on my screen anyways. And so we'll get you up to date on all of that as well. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Shea Klitzke from Concordia University of Wisconsin, their head coach, is going to stop by. They had a great weekend in Grand Rapids, going through the Central Regional Gauntlet and qualifying for the national championship. So congratulations to them. Shea's going to stop by and talk to us. So we'll stick around for that. And Gary Smith at the top of the hour, the head coach of Dartmouth College. They qualified on the D3 men's side. He's going to stop by as well. You're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live right here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports and, of course, the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. Thanks to Travis Hyde from Oswego State for joining us on the program as they are getting set to go for their tournament, their opening round matchup against Niagara. And also want to mention one of our sponsors here on 12 Ounce Sports and, of course, on the ACHA Power Play, Javi Coffee. If you like instant coffee, if you're a coffee drinker like I am, hot or cold, I invite you to go to javicoffee.com. They've got all the flavors: regular, decaf, salted caramel, French vanilla, a cinnamon flavor, and it's so easy to use. You take 1 teaspoon, maybe 2, depending on how strong you want it, hot or cold, and it's super easy. And the best part, use the promo code Captain Lou, and you get 15% off of your purchase. It's that simple. That is javicoffee.com, one of our longtime sponsors of the Captain Lou Extravaganza, as you can see on the bottom of the page, and of course, the ACHA Power Play. All right, without any further ado, let's go back to our guest line, and actually let's welcome in via video the head coach of Concordia University of Wisconsin, Shea Klitzke. Shea, thanks for joining us. How are you? Oh, I think you need to put your...
I'm not muted anymore. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, first of all, congratulations. Did you lose any hair in that game on Sunday against Minnesota going to overtime?
Yeah, I think each year here I'm losing more and more hair as we go through these seasons. So, but it was good. It was good to get through it.
You know, Shea, throughout the year I've monitored, obviously all the divisions, but the D2 division and your region. I don't have to tell you how close it was between number 1 and number 4. At one point, there was like a tiebreaker that you guys had to use, and you literally had to wait till the very last minute to legitimately find out if you're going to make it or if you had to go to Grand Rapids.
Right, and I mean, I was even looking at it before the regionals, and I mean, really, everyone that was in regionals, so 3 through 14, had beaten each other, had played tight games. So it was really, I mean, we played Minnesota in that game to go to the national tournament, and they were the 14 seed. But in reality, any team in that tournament had a chance. So it was definitely a stressful weekend to jump into a tournament that's that stacked.
Oh, for sure. And I know, no, you want to have to play the fewest amount of games as possible, but you played a Drury team that did not look like a 13 seed on Friday, and they jumped out to a quick lead on you. I think you wore them down, but that's it's so close, and
Yeah.
that kind of worried me a little bit. Once a team plays, they get a little confidence. It kind of
Yep.
showed.
Yep, and Drury, I mean, if you look at the back half of their season, they beat some big teams and they were peaking at the right time. So we knew going into that they had beaten Lindenwood not too long before that and played tight against some other top teams. So they were coming in on peaking at the right time. So we were expecting a battle from, it didn't matter what seed. I mean, we ended up playing 13 and 14, but honestly, like I said before, they're also even that the preparation was the same with whoever we're going to end up with.
Well, you kind of answered one of the questions I was going to ask you is, looking at your schedule and, I know you and I have talked before, and I know you get to schedule some very, very good teams, Sioux College, Lindenwood, the likes of Minnesota and everything. Just, it gets you ready for a scenario like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're in the ACHA Division II level, the strength of schedule is such a big part of your impact on where you rank in. So at the end of the day, you got to look at who you're putting on your schedule throughout the season to give you a chance to, be up towards that top of the region. Because at the end of the day, if you're not playing good teams, then you can win a lot of games, but you have to play those teams to put yourself in a position to maybe make an auto bid into the nationals or set yourself up for a good seed to get a bye in the region. So yeah, it's definitely a major thing we look at when we sit down to schedule everything before we start.
So, Shea, I think you've been in this scenario before where, you've had to qualify.
Yep.
Now, this is one thing that just, I don't know what the right word is. I am in awe of, for lack of a better word at the moment. I've seen teams back when D3 had their regional tournaments. You guys win, everybody's jumping around excited, the euphoria. Then
Yep.
you think, holy crap, we got 2 weeks to get ready.
Yeah.
Not on the ice, but off the ice.
Yep.
How long did the euphoria last for you before you feel like you realize, okay, boys, time to go to work on both ends?
Yeah, I mean, we had a 4.5 hour bus ride home, so it was able to sink in. But I mean, even right after the game, I'm thinking I have to get these guys food, and we got to, we have to, get on the bus and make sure we're getting back. But I mean, I think it lasts a while. We got back to practice today already, so I think the time that it's such a unique moment that you want to soak it in as long as possible. But at the end of the day, we have to get back to the road of we're going to a national tournament. We have to be ready for it. So I think the guys were able to soak it in right after the game and on the bus trip home. But then it's kind of back to, all right, we're back in the heat of the season still.
Yeah, and then now you got to come up with all your plans like accommodations and meals and getting transportation down to St. Louis and all that. That's that part of it is what I guess really impresses me, how you all you teams that are in the situation you're in, you got such a short period of time to get all that wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's right. I mean, even today we're getting messages from the ACHA like we need to make sure the hotels are set, and when are you getting down here? When do you want to practice on for your pregame skate on Sunday? So yeah, it was right to let's figure it all out so we can get the admin stuff out of the way and get back to practice.
So I got to ask you, and first of all, I give you kudos for something. Now, Saturday night, the Michigan State game went to double overtime, against Jamestown. And so you guys flip-flop the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, was that any kind of disadvantage to you guys for doing that?
I mean, right away, you see the schedule online, and that's what you think you're going with. So
right.
The fact that it was told to us, "Hey, you're going to go at 12:30 instead of 3," was like, "Well, what's going on here?" Just kind of seemed last second, but then I understand the rest period that those guys needed, and we both played basically at the same time, us in Minnesota. So right away, you're a little bit like, "What's going on here?" But then once we're like, "All right, this is what we're doing. Let's get to bed," and we're going to get up and play at 12:30. So it ended up working out just fine. But yeah, there's a little bit of like, what's happening here? So,
but it's just, I mean, it's that your adaptability came through for sure. So I want to tell you, I want you to pass this on to Chuck Emmy. His goal reminded me so much of Darren McCarty in the 97 final against Philly.
Right.
But I got to tell you, that was my favorite goal of the day till about 8:45 Eastern time. Patrick Kane outdid him.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, it was a wild end there. Like they had pressure in our defensive zone. We might have got away with a little bit of a trip. It's hard to call that in an overtime game.
Yeah.
And we catch a pass on the blue line there, and he sneaks in. And Charlie's so good that I was pretty confident once he had a little break that he was going to make the goalie miss and bury one for us. So it was exciting.
Well, I wanted to talk to you, and again, just looking at on paper, you guys are a high-scoring offense, a high-scoring team, and it looks like, well, maybe they're not so good defensively. But I got to tell you, Shea, I was impressed by Falcone in net.
Yeah,
he played such a whale of a game on Sunday that and he stood tall.
Yep.
There was two hell of a goaltenders in that game between him and the guy from Minnesota. But I think your defensive your defense came through, and it showed you guys are not one-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, that has been, well, first off, our goalies, we've had a dynamic duo for the most part of the season here with Falcone and Ian Robertson, where they love each other and they want to see each of them succeed. And so it's been great when one guy gets hot and the other guy backs him up, and then another guy gets hot. So it's been good in that sense. And Vinny played a heck of a game for us on Sunday, and it's been defense defensively, it's been our goal to play as a team. So
Yeah.
last year we had this group of guys. Our roster, you could go down it, and there's 15 guys with 30 plus points. And this year's a little different in the dynamic we have, but when we play like a team and we do the little things, and that starts in the defensive zone, we can be a better team than last year, even putting those pieces together, playing the right way.
But I also, I do have to, I like what he's got 19 power play goals on the regular season, and seeing it in person, seeing that snipe that he can throw, holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Yeah.
I know you've got more people than him. I look at Ian Malcolmson, Garrett Wilderman. I thought Garrett played a heck of a game.
Yep.
Taking it looked like he was injured for a minute there Sunday, but he came back and, just toughed it out, looked really, really good.
Yep. I mean, we have a bunch of guys that make you need a full team to put the pieces together. And, those guys are willing to battle. Even like Lucas Cruiser, we moved him to D, and he, took a little fall and tweaked his ankle, but I think he would have played if the thing was snapped in half. So they gutted it out because they really the team wanted it, and it was a team win. But yeah, you definitely need some guys that are gonna, put the team on their back when the time comes down to crunch time.
So I know that you're a 3 seed coming in. So I think your first game is Keene State.
Yep.
And I'm not saying this because you're here, but to me, that is the most intriguing opening round matchup in D2, because I think you guys are very even. And I think there are some, especially this year, not just you guys as a 3 seed, but in every pool, there are some really stacked 3 seeds in these pools. Indiana, New Hampshire, Providence. I mean, that's a dangerous position to watch out for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I like our bracket. We haven't played any of these teams in our bracket since I've been coaching, so it's kind of a breath of fresh air to get to play someone different and someone new. So we definitely have to watch a little bit on these teams to kind of see what they have. But yeah, it's going to be a fun bracket, and it's cool how each of them are loaded, and you don't kind of know what's going to happen. And I mean, you look at Iowa last year; they were a 9 seed out of our region, and they made it to the national championship game. So any team that's kind of rolling right now has a good chance. And that 3 seed, you get to play the 2 seed the first night, and then the 4, and then the 1. So if you're rolling, you kind of give yourself an opportunity to take down a bigger dog in the end of the pool play.
Maybe it's just me, and I've said this in the last few weeks here on the show, Shea. I've never seen the men's Division II so wide open.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can take it. There's been teams throughout the season that have been really good all year. I mean, you look at Florida Gulf Coast; they've kind of been dominant. Lindenwood's been dominant in our region, but every team has been losing too. It's different teams can come, and it's really who's ready to go at the tournament. So
Shea Klitzke's joining us for a few more moments. He is the head coach of Concordia University, Wisconsin, punching their ticket through the gauntlet of one of the regions in the Central region. So without giving away any secrets or whatever, what do you work on now? I mean, to keep the guys focused. I mean, I know they're excited to go to St. Louis, but what do you do, during practice with with a little less than 2 weeks to go before you get down there?
We at this point we are on a winning streak. So I mean, you have to win the games to move on, but we have to kind of stick to the things that we've been doing. I think I said that last year with you, that we have to continue the flow of practice, what's been working. So obviously we're going to hit on the lines working together and the flow drills, and keep the power play fresh, and make sure we know where guys are at. And so it's just all the little things, keeping it fluid, keep the feet moving so the guys are ready to go with 2 weeks. They just kind of keep the lungs and keep the good energy at practice that we've had in the games.
And it's funny is, I was talking about it in the broadcast this weekend too. Some of these teams would have had to have won 3 games in 3 days, but if you want to win the national championship in St. Louis in 2 weeks, you got to play 5 games. You got to win 5 games in 5 days. Basically, I know or you got to play 5 games. I mean, there is a way that you can go with maybe a hiccup in the pool, but boy, you sure can't count on that, you know?
No, you can't. You can't leave that out to a hope that you can get through by having a hiccup. So yeah, it's 5 days. If you want to go all the way, it's 5 days of playing the best hockey you have, and you have to play it and recover and do it again the next day. So it's a grind.
So as a coach, Shea, do you still get nervous before a game, or do you get nervous?
It's the worst. I think I told you last year. Playing is different than coaching.
Yeah.
You don't have the same impact on the game. And I think if I had a heart rate monitor on against that in that Minnesota game, it'd been through the
boy.
roof the whole time. But yeah, it's nerve wracking, but it's a fun nervous where it's something that you want to have almost, that you're that excited to be behind the bench and behind the guys because you want them to win.
You know, the one last thing about that game in overtime on Sunday is, you notice, to me anyways, when I was watching it and I watched it again, it sometimes when you get into overtime, especially like on Saturday, I kind of know this with Michigan State, you sometimes play not to make a mistake because sometimes it's the first team that makes a mistake loses.
Right.
You guys were going back and forth end to end. There was no hesitance. There was no, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? You guys were back and forth the whole time.
Absolutely. I mean, we tried to set up a play on the opening draw. Like, let's hope we get a home run here. And you can't play defensive and score. Obviously, we have to play tough in the D zone and be in the right spot, but you have to be aggressive. And, then when it goes back and forth, you got to rely on the goalie and hope that you can, get another rush the other way. And that's kind of what happened. And we got the last rush that, ended up in our favor.
Well, Shea, I appreciate you taking time out on such short notice to come on the show tonight. It's been fun. It's always great catching up with you. Take a deep breath if you can. After you get all your ducks in a row ready to go down to St. Louis, and good luck, and look forward to catching up with you down in St. Louis. If we get a chance, I'll stop and say hi.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Shea Klitzke, the head coach of Concordia University of Wisconsin, punching their ticket this weekend, a thrilling 2-1 win over Minnesota in overtime. They took on Drury on Friday night and won that one Saturday night rather, won that one 5-2. And they're legit. And, again, bring up the brackets, and these 3 seeds in these brackets are incredibly, incredibly solid. And, these guys can put the puck in the net, but they can play, the balance on defense is amazing. And that's kind of what I think they're going to hang their hat on. And I know they want to take that next step. They want to get all the way, as all the teams do. And it really is going to be wide open. You do have the likes of Florida Gulf Coast and Lindenwood. They've been off to some good starts, but as Shea mentioned, they've also suffered some losses. So, they're right in there as well. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to everybody that went through the regional gauntlet. Single elimination, win or go home. And, that kind of gives them a taste of what it's going to be like in pool play, where, like we mentioned, if you want to win it all, you got to play 5 games in 5 days. That's where the depth comes in. If you've got a tandem of goalies, what have you, that is what you that's what you need. And I think that they've got it. So it's going to be fun to watch that. So you're watching the ACHA Power Play. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports, 12ouncesports.com. Want to thank Jeff Beck and the boys for welcoming us back. We've got a great lineup everywhere from the Daily Dive with Mike Carvallis to Philly Pete, weeknights now at 6 o'clock. And yours truly and Jeff with his show on Thursday. We got a lot going on. Our articles online. And we've got a lot of live stuff coming up. Washington and Lee with their live sports coming up later on in the spring, their college athletics, and so much more. So much to look forward to, including here at the ACHA Power Play. And a reminder, next week, our show will be Wednesday. It'll be live from the Centene Ice Center down in St. Louis. We hope to see you there. If you see me there throughout the 11 days that we're there, just come on up and say hi. Would really love to get to know you, get to talk to you. It's always fun interacting with not only the coaches, but the fans and the players. You get to meet folks from all over the country, all over the North America. It really, truly is a lot of fun. All right, still to come. Right after the break, we're going to talk to Gary Smith. He's the head coach of Dartmouth College. They've qualified at the D3 level. And we're going to take a listen, or we're going to have a chat with him, and we'll see what they're doing to get ready for the national tournament. So, again, you're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports and, of course, the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. And right now, I'd like to welcome in the head coach of Dartmouth College, and I'm glad he reminded me of this. This is going to be a return trip for them down to St. Louis, and it's Gary Smith. Gary, thanks for joining us again. How are you?
No problem, Lou. Thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah,
it becomes a more consistent thing.
Well, it will be. I promise you that. Now that I've got your number, I've got you locked and loaded. So we'll get you on every year. So congratulations getting back to the Nationals. When did you find out for sure, or when did you have a good feeling, Gary, that you're going to be making that return trip?
Yeah, I felt pretty good this year. Coming back during our winter term started off, we had a good real fall. We had a really tough strength of schedule. We played some good teams. Went out to Colorado, played Air Force, played mine. And we came back early in the winter, and our rankings shot way up. We were hovering around 17, 18, and we started shooting up into the 7 and 8 range. And then won a couple games, started building some goal differential, and moved up into that 4 spot. So probably about the time we got to 4 or 5, we felt pretty good that we had a shot to stay. But you never know with the rankings. So
that's the crazy thing, Gary. I've noticed with the D3 since they've gone to this ranking system over the last 2 or 3 years. The fluctuations you see, like you said, you see some teams drop like 6 to 7 spots in 1 week. I mean, that's got to be a little stressful for you.
Yeah, it's real stressful. Some of the programs know for sure, but I actually did a lot of work this summer trying to help, the ACHA and, the competition committee trying to come up with a way to make it more balanced or more fair. As you know, last year, the tournament was in the Northeast and not one Northeast team was represented.
Yeah.
And our conference took a hit for that. There's a couple teams, us in Central Maine. Central Maine got in this year. SHU got in this year that were left out. And we put in some work this summer to try to get it changed. And luckily it did. So that's been important for us this year. It's nice to have representation from the Northeast for a change.
Well, it's well deserved too, because it's a very good brand of hockey up there. I don't think it gets publicized enough. You see the share at the D2 level, but you've got some really good teams at the D3 level. You guys, and you mentioned Central Maine, that they came over here to Michigan and played Calvin, and they represented themselves very, very well.
Yep, exactly, which was great to see. Like I said, and I think unfortunately for us to get those rankings, where both of our programs did, we had to go out to Colorado and play Air Force and Mines, right? Like you got to be able to get outside your conference to show yourself, which is tough. It's tough for some D3 programs to be able to travel. They don't all have the budget and the means to go do that. The ranking system can be frustrating. That's why I never believe it till the end.
Well, you're there, and that's the important thing. Now, Gary, it's been since February 11th that you've played last. Is that correct?
Yes. No, we played our conference tournament February 17th. We played WPI.
Okay. All right. What have you guys done to stay sharp? Because it's obviously you play. You've got a layoff of 2 to 3 weeks. What do you guys do to stay sharp?
Yeah, it's tough too because it's actually the end of our term. So Dartmouth's on basically trimester. So kids
Okay.
are actually entering finals. Kids will actually be taking finals. We get to proctor exams during nationals, which is not easy. So really, it's just been practicing lots of small area games, trying to stay competitive, 5-on-5 stuff. But it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I think it's a challenge for a lot of teams. But yeah, it's been a challenge to stay competitive.
That's something I want to touch on. That's something I don't think very many teams have to worry about are taking their finals while they're down there. I mean, to stay focused and to be able to compete I'm flabbergasted by that. That's amazing.
Yeah, we had to do it last time too. So we were proctoring exams last time as well. So yeah, it definitely adds a wrinkle. It's something we've done before, which is nice. We're returning to a place we've done it before.
Okay.
The kids understand it. We had to do it even on our Colorado trip a little bit. But yeah, it does add that little bit. But imagine trying to prepare to go out to nationals while finishing your basically your term up too.
Right.
So it makes it interesting.
So what I wanted to talk to you too is some of the behind the scenes work to get down there. You as a coach, you got to go through all the administrative work. Now you found out, a couple of weeks ago that you're going, but it takes a while to get all that together and lump in, like you said, the academics with the kids. There's so much behind the scenes that you got to get straight to make that trip. And then you got to fundraise as well.
Yeah, all of the above. Luckily, I have a great associate head coach, Michael Fisher, and he's done a wonderful job of taking that on. I'm actually too superstitious. They send the emails out early telling you should look at blocking rooms and things like that, and I can't even pretend to look at that because, I got to believe it first. But
right.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. But like I said, luckily we've done it before. We actually were going out to nationals through the year of COVID. So we did all the preparation work. We had our flights booked. We had our hotels booked. If you remember, nationals literally got canceled like the day before. So we've done it 3 times now, which helps. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes behind it. Working with the school for the travel. Luckily, we've taken other trips. Like I said, we went to Colorado last year. We went to Florida Gulf Coast. So it's really just redoing those motions. The fundraising for sure. Luckily, our parents are super supportive. We have alumni that are super supportive. So people really help us when we need to. But yeah, there's a lot of work, and I would say there's equally that much work into it once we're there, like setting up team meals, making sure the kids are fed. It's just a stressful week all around. Plus you got to play hockey and proctor exams.
Yeah, I mean, there is that thing. You still got to play the game, and that's amazing. Let's talk about your team, Gary. Very well balanced. Spencer Watson, Ryan Lovett, Luke Housley. Just 3 of them. You got Dylan Witzke, but you're very balanced, and you've got the firepower. But you can roll out the 4 lines if you need to.
Yeah, that's a nice thing I think about this team versus when we were at nationals last year for sure. We definitely have depth. It will be interesting. We actually have never been able to roll out our full roster, either between our terms with people being on or off, or with injuries and other things. This will be the first time that we actually are going to have everyone. So it's kind of unique to have that situation when we're out there. But yes, we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of talent. There's all those players. There's several other players, Unruh, our goaltending, Porsche. There's just so many other people that have stepped up. Spangler stepped up and played a lot for us this year. So depth is absolutely something we feel like we have this year versus when we were at nationals previously.
And I look at your goaltending. Obviously, you're led by Lucas Larocque. He's having a whale of a year. His goals against are phenomenal, and he's going to stand in tall in net for you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to need him. We're going to have to ride him, if we're going to have any success out there for sure. He's had a good year for us. He had a fantastic fall, which has been really good. He's had a good winter too for us. But yeah, I mean, really, it's nationals. In order to be good out there, you need to be good across every single position, all 3 levels, towards defense and offense, or goaltending, all have to be clicking. So luckily, Lucas went out there with us previously. He didn't get any starts when he was out there. Actually, I think he got into a game, believe it or not. But so he has a little experience out there. But we have a lot of seniors on the team, so hopefully that presence will help us. But Lucas has been there, so hopefully he's ready to go when the time comes.
You bring up a point about nationals. One of the things that I've noticed, the defense is what's ratcheted up the most with me. It just gets tighter. Not in a bad way, but it just, I don't know if it's the discipline or whatever, but that's the one thing I always notice how it's improved tenfold is the defensive style of play.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost equated to the NHL, right? Like you watch all your regular season games and the playoffs start and all of a sudden everything becomes defensive, right? So I think everyone knows out there, you gotta change the way you play. You gotta be willing to block shots. You gotta be willing to, play defense first. I tell the team all the time, right? Offense wins games, defense wins championships. And you definitely see that out at nationals for sure.
What do you think you might, if there's anything that you may have to tweak to look at or to work on before you get down to St. Louis? Is there really anything, or are you just rolling with what you got?
No, I mean, you hit on it. We definitely have to do a better job defensively in St. Louis. We've got to do a better job of not making mistakes, not having turnovers. I think just even like penalties, like I remember from nationals, like I couldn't believe how good the power plays were out at nationals when we were there a couple of years ago. I mean, every team is just loaded when it comes to power plays. You take that penalty and it's almost a guarantee, I think, sometimes. So that's the stuff we gotta work on for sure. Penalty killing and just defense in general, just playing smart.
Well, I hate to say this to you, but I'm going to say it anyways. We always, some of the broadcasters, we get together and we look at these pools and all the divisions that have them. Gary, I think you got the pool of death, man. You got Hope, Calvin, Sacred Heart, and you guys, man. That's one heck of a pool.
Yeah, if you don't think we saw it and thought the same thing, you'd be wrong. So, yeah, our draw was definitely a tough draw for sure. I mean, Hope, look what they've done. I mean, I think their starting goaltender, 14-1? I think he's won every game except for one out there.
Yeah.
They're tough. Calvin's, they've won some huge games this year.
Yeah.
It's like you said, SHU. I mean, we played SHU like our first game of the year. They're a great team. So I would agree. If you look at all four pools, I think that our pool is the toughest by far.
Oh, it's the toughest in any of the divisions, in my opinion, hands down. And so, but that just means you're going to look that much better if and when you get through the pool, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got Calvin on the mind right now, but whoever comes out of that pool is definitely going to probably be very wore down. That's going to be 3 extremely tough games.
So when do you guys get down to St. Louis, Gary?
Yeah, we fly out the night of the 5th, last day of classes for us, actually.
Okay.
So we fly out the night of the 5th, and we'll be there for the 6th for practice, and then we start playing on the 7th.
Well, hey, Gary, I appreciate you taking time out to be with us tonight. I know you're very busy. It's that time of year, getting everything ready to go for St. Louis. Look forward to seeing you down there. I'll be down there as well. And good luck.
Thank you.
And I think you're going to I think you guys are going to do well and enjoy your trip down there.
We will. I appreciate it. Come say hi.
Will do, for sure. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Take
You
care.
bet. Gary Smith, the head coach of Dartmouth College. And, you take a look. I'm going to bring these up again. I want to bring the D3 pool or the D3 pool play, just the teams in these pools. And, Hope and Calvin are going to play each other. Dartmouth opens up with Calvin. I'm familiar with Calvin doing their games. They're very good. And Hope is Hope. We all know Chris Van Timmeren's team and Sacred Heart. I mean, that is a loaded pool. And, and I'm not, I'm trying not to take too much away from the other ones, but I look at that pool and all those teams are capable of being, 1 seeds in other pools. It's the truth. So in my opinion, that's one of the toughest pools in all of the divisions. And so, speaking of Hope, Saturday night, in Michigan at the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference, they had their Vezina Cup tournament. It's like their conference tournament. And we had the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the land play on Saturday night. And that was Hope and that was Lawrence Tech. Hope won 3-0. Lawrence Tech's ranked number 1 in the country. Hope's number 2. And I believe Grand Valley's number 3. And so they didn't make it to the semifinals. Hope beat Oakland on Friday night. Lawrence Tech beat Calvin as well in one of the semis. So again, the Eastern Conference, the MCHC is the conference to beat, but there are some teams that you got to watch out for. And I'm really interested to see that opening day matchup with Calvin and with Dartmouth. I think that's going to be a very, very good game. And, we touched on it. You got to be disciplined and you can't take any breaks. Now, I do remember Hope in 2018 won the national championship in Division III with a loss in pool play. That was only because Arkansas had 2 ties. So you get 3 points, I think, for a win and 1 for a tie. I think Arkansas went 1-0-2. So they had 5 points. Hope went 2-1. They had 6, and they ended up winning it. So, but this is another, just like in D2, 5 games in 5 days. And so you got to be, if you want to win it all. So you got to be solid. You got to be sharp. So, all right. Wow. We are a week away and change, 9 days from the national tournament down in St. Louis, March 7th through the 17th. D1 and D3 start on the 7th right away. First thing in the morning, 10 o'clock, I think 10 and 11 o'clock Central Time. And then the D2 tournament starts on the 11th. The championship games for D1 and D3 are on the 12th. And then women's D2 starts on the 12th, runs through the 16th. Women's D1 starts on the 13th, runs through the 17th. 82 teams are going to be converge on St. Louis March 7th to start the national tournament. The D1 bracket has expanded to 24 teams, single elimination. The first 8 teams get a bye into the second round. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's such great hockey. I know I say it a lot here on the program, but it is. It's great college hockey, and it's non-NCAA hockey. It is not, the stigma of club, it's not. This is such a viable way for the young kids to get an education and to play some very, very well-structured competitive hockey. And if you're going to be in the St. Louis area, I encourage you to stop by, take a day, come on in, watch a couple of the games. I don't care, men's or women's. The women's hockey at the D1 and D2 level is fantastic. Sioux College and Assiniboine are 2 of the best women's teams that I've seen in quite a long time. Liberty and D1, they're looking for their 5th straight national championship. And I'll tell you what, they play an excellent brand of hockey that would rival some of the women's NCAA teams, bar none. So many good games to watch. It's going to be so thrilling. They're going to be broadcast live on Flow Hockey TV. I'll be one of the commentators. And also, we are going to, like I mentioned, we're going to be doing our ACHA Power Play live next Wednesday night from Centene down in St. Louis. But every night, get your updates every morning, whatever. On 12-ounce sports, we're going to have the ACHA day in review, the tournament review, whatever, nightly updates. Well, they'll be in the morning, but they'll be replayed, and they'll also be on our YouTube channels on 12-ounce sports and, of course, the Captain Lou Sports Network. So we're going to bring you daily updates. Hopefully we'll get some interviews. We'll do what we can with that, but you're going to get up to date each day on the brackets, the scores, the highlights, whatever. 11 days down in St. Louis. We're going to have so much fun. And it's hard to believe that we're almost there. It just seems like yesterday we were in Labor Day weekend, just kind of putting a game plan together for the ACHA Power Play for our 8th season. Yeah, our 8th season here. And I tell you, it's been nothing short than amazing. It's been a heck of a run. We're not going anywhere, that's for sure. But one place we are going, the road to the Lou, it's in our sights. It's next Wednesday night with the ACHA Power Play, and then 11 days of hockey. Can't beat it. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. I'm so excited. It's getting there. All right, that's going to do it. I want to thank Travis Hyde from Oswego State. They're going to the national tournament. They're going to be there. First time for them. I want to also thank Shea Klitzke from Concordia University of Wisconsin for joining us. Huge game, huge weekend for them. And, of course, Gary Smith from Dartmouth College, a return trip to the Nationals for them. They are ready to go. And I could tell, they've got the mindset. And, wow, they're taking finals while they're playing. That shows you the dedication, and that shows you the discipline and the organizational skills and whatever. Man, it's just an extra story. And I got a good feeling about them. I really do. So, all right, that's going to do it. The ACHA Power Play will be live again next Wednesday night. Mark it down, 7 o'clock Eastern time from St. Louis at the Centene Center. Hope to see you there, and join us for that next Wednesday here on 12 Ounce Sports. We'll be here tomorrow for another Captain Lou extravaganza, 7 o'clock Eastern time as well. All right, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Until next time, next Wednesday, for another edition of the ACHA Power Play, Captain Lou saying so long. Thanks for joining us here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube.